Welcome to 10X Live, the show where we're revolutionizing business, one strategy at a time. At 10X Solutions, we have a bold vision to democratize business excellence. We believe every organization deserves the tools to thrive. Our secret sauce, the perfect blend of cutting-edge AI, the proven power of organizational health, and growth management. We assembled genius teams equipped with advanced analytics to supercharge decision-making and skyrocket efficiency. From AI-augmented strategy sessions that spark creativity to precise planning powered by human ingenuity, we're your catalyst for sustainable growth. We keep it real, we keep it honest, and we keep you ahead of the curve. Join us for the 10X revolution. We're not just adapting to change, we're leading it. Let's map out a future where your business doesn't just survive, it thrives. This is 10X Live. Let's transform business together.
Hey, welcome back. It's Wednesday. It is 2:08. Sorry, we're a little bit tardy, but Wednesdays at 2, we got 10X Live, and I'm glad to be back, refreshed after a week off. Jay had a guest
11
speaker last
Pacific.
week, and
I don't want to confuse anybody out here on the West Coast.
yes, yes, that absolutely 2 p.m.
You can catch the replays at 2 p.m. Oh God,
That's true. That's true. We are live. We're live from the West Coast. We're live from, I can't say the East Coast, Michigan. You know that we're in a really weird spot. We're considered Eastern Standard Time, but we're not really all the way. We're almost middle of the country. I'm not great at geography, but it's never totally made sense. But I don't make those rules. But either way, we start off with a little bit of technical difficulty. Xfinity showed up. They disconnected me. The guy handed me a wrench and said, go tighten something in my house. And I didn't know we were having problems. And so here we are scrambling, but we are back. And I am Kyle Vernon. Vernon Business Partners is the company that I have. Small business is the name of the game. And that's where we're both working. We got Jay, our mastermind of 10X Solutions here. And we have an exciting agenda. We had a product launch. We have a debrief of what that looked like and how AI could have benefited, did benefit through that process. And we're going to really talk through that while we're also launching the product. It's a great product that Jay put together. Blood, sweat, and tears is not an under emphasis of what that is. But before I get started, I just have to say, all last week, I had 6 kids under the age of 9 at my house for an entire week. So being back and doing this and refocusing is great. I love the kids. So much fun in the pool. But man, it's a wild ride when you got that many father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, all those kiddos. It was chaos. I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that, Jay, but it's magical. We'll say that.
Yeah, I have. And for my energy levels, they need to be few and far between.
It is.
I am an introvert, and I have a hard time around. I mean, family's different, though, right? There's something about especially kids and family and being around loved ones. Can kind of break you out of the introvertedness. But I would be exhausted. I would be absolutely exhausted.
I'm on the disc chart. I'm a high I and dripping off the pan on the eye. And so I like the events, and with the gift of enablement is where I get to do a lot of that. But man, it still is even exhausting. I will say, so I don't know if you've had one of these, but I bought a Blackstone, and it is life-changing. I can't really understate it. It's been amazing for bacon, pancakes, cooking for large groups. They're awesome. I've been kind of resistant to it.
Yeah.
I've been a charcoal guy. The grill was dying, decided to make the leap, and hibachi, all those things, easy, faster, cook everything on it, all one meal, which is great. So you're not going in and out of the house because there's always interruption with kids. It's awesome. Are you a hibachi guy, or have you done Blackstone before?
I am not a cooking guy.
Okay.
Or a grilling guy. Yeah. Yeah. That is a deficiency I have.
everybody's got their gifts. Have you been to like a hibachi steakhouse where
Oh
they
yeah, yeah,
they do
yeah. So
the choo choo train? I feel like I got to get all the accessories now to try to figure that out and
is that kind
flip
of what that
something
is,
in.
Blackstone? So I don't know what that means. We say I know. I mean, I know what hibachi is now, like with teppanyaki.
Oh yeah, so
But
it's a griddle. Like if you
okay.
think of like a camping griddle, they've been really
Mhm.
um, ingrained in the camping department, but now they're making them to where it's like, hey, replace your grill with this. And I've cooked everything. Smash burgers are pretty popular right now.
Right.
Made like 30 of those, just little ones, smashing them, which feels foreign to me. Why would you smash meat? But
Right.
juices come out and come back in, and it's delicious. It's a lot of fun with it. I've really enjoyed it. And wings, but it's a griddle. Yes, sorry, making assumptions that you know what that is, but yes, it's a big 36-inch griddle blacktop that gets very hot,
Wow.
and it's amazing. I actually like cooking on it.
Yeah. Well, and you were just saying with that many people in your house too. I mean, that's a pretty powerful tool to have to not only be able to cook a lot, but make it delicious and make everybody happy, especially kids. I was a picky kid.
Yeah, you can cook. You got the adult meals, and then you can have the kids meals, and there's enough room for all of it. And as long as you can figure out something that needs to be cooked on there, it was really convenient. Plus, then you get the opportunity to step out for a little bit and just focus and get something done, which I'm not a big tenacity guy, but there is something to be said about the satisfaction of completion at times. And so it was nice to be able to do that. And speaking of completion, big round of applause. You've worked really hard. What have you worked really hard on the last couple weeks that you have completed, Jay? What did you do? What are you launching? I don't know if it's just me. I can't hear you. And so if you've been following us the last couple weeks, we had the opportunity to where Jay has been working vigorously on this alpha product. And to say the least, it's going to be a game changing tool in which small businesses can really effectively evaluate the way they do business, create better plans, and with a lot of work through Jay's expertise, sounds like you're back on his HR
Can you hear me?
background, yep,
Okay.
and AI, he has wondered about a solution and came up with it to help solution problems within a business to help you go and do what you do best as a business owner, which is executing, right?
Hmm.
And so he's a partner on the front end of it. And so, again, tenacity work, you've been working hard on it. And we're excited to hear a little bit more about the alpha.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'll demonstrate it a bit. So I've spent the last couple of weeks. So I went pretty thoroughly through the actual action plan last week. So you can look over that. Almost too thoroughly. I spent a little bit too much time on it, but it's exciting, and every page is packed with value. It's 12 pages, and I say every page. There's a cover page and a table of contents, which is minimal value, but the rest packed all the way, start to finish. So it's really easy to spend your time and really kind of dig into every page of it. And so today I'm going to show kind of a high level overview of it again, just to kind of familiarize everybody with it. But really, what I was working on was trying to solve the problem of how do I charge for and deliver the surveys, and then have some Google Sheets nerd. I have used Google Sheets for everything. I've built entire like database inventory systems using Google Sheets and Google Forms. And I didn't want to do that this time. I didn't want to like send links to Google Forms or try and embed them into something else. I wanted to take on the challenge of building something from scratch that would allow me to kind of build a portal that allows really easily people to go in and take these surveys. And part of the challenge of that is I am not a developer. I've talked about that here before. I've talked about with a lot of the AI stuff and how it codes. But I was using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and one day about 2-3 weeks ago, I decided I am going to try and build a portal. And so if you're a developer and you're watching, I'll tell you this. I didn't know what NPM was. I didn't know what Node was. I didn't know what React was. I didn't know what MongoDB was. I didn't know what Postman was. I didn't know what Heroku was. I didn't know all of the ins and outs and the systems. I didn't know I don't know. I still largely don't know a single piece of coding. But I'll tell you what, having AI walk you through building a portal is one heck of a crash course in the theory of development. So I'll tell you this too. Part of the reason why it was so frustrating. So AI is really stupid, right? It's compared to what it can be and what it will be, and compared to human beings, it is not very smart.
Yeah.
And so the best way to describe this would be, imagine finding somebody who is an absolute savant at programming and can give you like hundreds of lines of code at a time, and it works. But they're 3 years old with the attention span of like with a deficient attention span for a 3-year-old. So it was really, really difficult. Really kind of walking through it. So as we reveal it, I built it around simplicity. And so it's going to look very simple, and partly because I'm not a developer and I built something. So it's not going to be, this is the alpha product. This is not the end. This is to test the systems, to get it working, and start collecting feedback on what people do and don't like about it. But that's what I did. So that was about 2 or 3 weeks of a lot of tenacity work, a lot of debugging and frustration, long nights. It was one of those things where I was, I'd be working till 10 or 11 or 12, and then I couldn't sleep. So I'm back at it from 2 to 4, and then I'm back in bed, and then I'm up at 6 and back at it, and then kind of back and forth for 2 or 3 weeks. So, and then we might've lost you again, Kyle. I'm not sure. But yeah, so while Kyle is frozen, I guess that's a good opportunity just to kind of start showing what this thing is. So I'll start with the website. So if you go to 10xsolutions.ai, that is the easiest way to get into accessing the 10x action plan. And so I'm going to open a window, and then I'm going to share it real quick, and then we will navigate there together. All right. Put this here, put this here. Okay. So 10xsolutions.ai. So this is the website. You see when you first get to the website, the very first thing, the header is telling you about the 10x action plan. For right now, it is limited time only for the alpha test, largely because this is a test to make sure the systems are working and to collect feedback. We are offering it for 90% off, so it is only $5 for the test. As you go here, so there's some information here about it, including the prototype, access to the prototype there, and some more information. As far as getting right to it, we can go here. And then because it's the alpha test, I wanted to have some bit of a disclaimer and some information so that you could read and you kind of know what you are signing up for. And so I have that here, and then you click here and it takes you into the portal. So this is what I was working on for 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm just going to log in with mine. And so normally what you would do is you would register. And then once you register, then you would pay the $5. And then, or once you register, you would log in again. And then that checks to see if you've paid. And if you have not paid, then it will take you to the checkout where you'll pay the $5. And then you get access to this. And so the idea, again, behind this was that it would be very sleek, very simple. Very easy to use, easy to move, navigate with, and really be able to get in and get out as quick as possible. For business owners, not only is money a factor in decision making, time is probably one of the largest factors. And so really reducing the amount of time it takes to complete this. So as you can see, we got in very easily, logged right in. And then, so we can read all this here, but we won't right now. And Kyle's back. We'll bring him back on. Welcome back, Kyle.
Sorry. It looks like it was an ugly mug shot too that I was
Oh,
left
you
with.
were
Like
stuck on
totally
it.
disgusted with you.
I can't believe you just said that, Jay.
Seriously, I don't, man, that was not my favorite. All right. I'm
Right?
sorry.
Ah,
Sorry
all
about
good, all good. Yeah, I mean, I was talking into the ether for a minute, so this feels a lot better
that.
yeah, so to kind of back up, I'll show kind of where we've gone. So the website, the 10xsolutions.ai, will take you straight here. And then from here, you can read about it, learn more about 10x Solutions, but then you can unleash your power by clicking that. So that takes you here, shows you a bit more, some information. You have the full prototype here, the more detail about methodology and a lot of the ways and how it's built. And then throughout it, there's all these buttons where you can click. So just about anywhere on here you can click, it takes you into the portal. Portal, very slick, very simple. That was by design. The idea is to get you in, get you out as quick as possible. I'm repeating it now because Kyle, you're back here with us. But so normally what you would do is I've registered before and I've paid on this account. So I was able to go straight in from that last screen. If you hit register, so if you don't have an account, you register. Once you register, you go back there. When you log in, it'll check to see if you've paid. If you have not, then it'll redirect you to Stripe where you can have a secure checkout. And then it lets you in here. So once you're in here, it's really easy. You just start working on the surveys. So you can click on any of the surveys. You'll see that this middle section here just changes for you as you do that. You're going to try to make it very simple. So I could go here. I could say 10x solutions. Go next. So I can navigate with these. I can save my progress. I can also navigate here, which this is one of my favorite features. Makes it really easy to go back and forth and see your progress and what you've accomplished, what you've completed and haven't, as far as that goes. So I'm not going to do all this now, again, for the sake of brevity. I've already spent too longer on this than I expected, which isn't unexpected, if you know me. But it gives you an idea of how easy it is. So then once you complete, and I'll do this, actually, I will do this just to show you. Let's say, so 2024, we are technology primarily. Currently 1 to 10 employees, currently less than 100,000 as we've just started up. We are in a hyper growth phase. We are business to business. We serve local, regional, national so far. We are, as far as market position, we are significantly behind because we are still breaking in. Our 3 competitive advantages, I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3 for the sake of time here. 3 things we're facing. Current financial health, I would say good. We're still in a good position, even though we are just starting off. And then primary goal for the next 12 months, I would say definitely, like launch new, but I want to increase market share is kind of the next thing. So how would you rate your company's current use of technology? I would say advanced, not quite cutting edge, but advanced. What is your company's approach to innovation? I'll say proactive. How would you describe your company's organizational structure? For me, it's flat right now. What is your company or your customer acquisition strategy? So digital marketing, sure. Content marketing, and partnerships, I think largely. Customer retention, excellent. Revenue, typically based. So I'd say that we right now investing at least 30% of our revenue back into innovation. And then so this is question 20, which is the last question on the survey. How would you rate your company's adaptability to market change? And I'll say highly adaptable. So when I hit next, you'll see here that when I mouse over this, the request an action plan, it won't let me click it. Once I'm done, business profile completed successfully. Now that changes to orange and it shows me that 1 out of the 4 surveys are done. So now I can hit that button and as the customer, my work is done. Now that sends to us at 10x Solutions. All of your survey responses and everything gets to us. And then we take that and actually will, using AI, manually build your 10X action plan. We keep humans involved in the process the whole time. So far, the only part we've automated is the user experience from signing up to getting it done. And as you saw, I've done it a lot, but that took me 3 minutes.
You can tell that it was very easy working through it. For me, this is first time that I've been able to see it as well, watching you go through. And obviously you've worked with this significantly enough that you know what the questions are prompting to. Mm-hmm. But for somebody like myself who doesn't have that innovative side of the business, I don't have those muscles, or at least I don't want to flex those muscles, I should say, very often because it drains me. I do see the simplicity of this. And so, again, small business owners out there, a lot of them are great at knocking on the doors and getting the business. And then once you get the business, the next part is really growing it, expanding it. Where are your flaws? Would you say that's accurate? And that's kind of what this is uncovering for somebody that your clientele that should be looking to this? That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, it's for any business owner who isn't exactly where they want to be.
Okay.
It's because you can be struggling. You can be really struggling and in need of a turnaround. And this is a tool that can identify some key areas and things to work on for you. You could be a market leader, highly innovative, but are interested in finding new opportunities and new areas to grow. Then this would also help identify those for you as well. So, it's really any, if you are a business owner and you are looking to make more money,
Mm-hmm.
then this tool is 100% geared towards you.
So looking to make more money, this climate is
Bottom
always
line,
evolving, always evolving too. So I think of those forecasting plans of 5 years out. Like, this is something that is simple is not the right word, but you can execute this fast enough that it could give you results, even with some frequency, maybe. Like, maybe you're a repeat customer on some of this because the business could possibly be changing, and this is simple enough to make sure you're either going the right direction or not seeing a direction in which you could be going, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot to it too. Like, you'll see that all we did was complete the business profile survey.
Yeah.
And so those questions are designed. So that's not going to get to the specifics of your business, but those questions are designed that it is going to allow us to really kind of pinpoint down to understanding your business at a very high level. And so every response, just completing that one survey is going to generate a lot of ideas and responses from the AI, right? So I take your responses, and then I have a whole nother system that we're not going to show because it's more proprietary, and the prompts that I have and how I've set it up. But I take the survey responses and I run it through that, and it analyzes that based on all of its training data plus all of the prompting and the information that I give it. So it becomes like incredibly powerful just with the business profile. That's why the business profile is the only one required. You'll notice that there's also 3 more here. There's the organizational alignment survey, the strategic stamina survey, and the AI preparedness survey. These are all optional. So after I've completed the business profile survey, I'm now able to request the 10X action plan because it's the only one required. But the more you take the time and fill out, then that is more information that the AI is able to have and use to pinpoint even further. So like, think about it like this. If there were 1,000 businesses out there and they were all random, then the business profile questionnaire allows us to, out of the 1,000, identify your one. It gets specific enough that we can identify it out of the 1,000. Here's your one. Where if the other ones will take it from maybe 1,000 to 1,000,000, right? Out of 1,000,000 businesses, now here is gets so granular, on the detail of your business that it is able to produce pretty astounding results.
So I think we'd be remiss if we weren't talking about, so you took a lot of time to put into this. Let's rewind to Jay before he was in on AI. Could you have created something like this previously?
No, not even 3 weeks ago I could have.
And
I couldn't have created this until Claude 3.5 Sonnet came out.
And so with this, emphasizing the power of AI, and still part of it is that you are learning it, you are adapting to it, and you're all in on it. And so when I think about, when I've had a lot of conversations with small business owners, and I'm buying into this more and more all the time. I was with my mom's trying to figure out a golf cart ordinance in the small city that we live in. And And it's like, Mom, you need to work on AI with this. I was like, you can
I
go
want
to
to
the
hear more about
village
that. You
and you
told me
can
about that. Yeah.
totally you can create and look at other areas, research where it is, and pull that in, and their AI is going to be able to do it, right? So I'm ingraining it into so many different facets of my life because it's fascinating, it's easy. But when it comes to business, you still have the side and the expertise of the execution of creating this tool. You're also learning AI. Not every business owner has that opportunity to spend the time like you have been executing this. So when I look at you and your opportunity, that's really what I see. Like, you have the expertise. Yes, you're utilizing AI. Yes, maybe I could go figure it out on my own. But honestly, I think it's the way you are geared, the way you are built, that you're great at asking the right questions. You're great at thinking through and working, because it's a tool, right? You have to know how to use a tool. It doesn't matter if just because I have a hammer doesn't mean I can build a house.
Right.
And so when I think of AI, you are the right guy with the right tool to be able to execute this. And it's been really neat watching you go through it.
It was really hard.
Like what? So you threw out, and I don't even know what you're talking about because I'm not a coder, and so
Right.
the things that you're talking about, I didn't really know.
I didn't
fact
know
that you're
either.
even
And
willing
that's
to
the
dive
crazy
in.
part. That's literally everything I know about coding I've learned in the last few weeks.
So,
I mean,
so
I mentioned I'm really good at like spreadsheets and that sort of stuff, and I'm able to write, kind of dumbed down SQL, which is a type of coding, and formulas and functions and queries inside, of those are kind of like that. So, somewhat in the realm, but no. And part of the reason it was so hard is because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So what would happen was, okay, here's what I want. And then it would code it and like present it to me. Okay, yes, we're on the track. So then, okay, where do I put that? Now I don't even know where to put the code. I'm like pulling out like notebooks, like trying to figure out what do I do with this now? Okay, I have code. Where does it go? Like, that's how much I didn't even know. That's like saying, that's like similar to saying, hey, write an essay, and somebody's saying, so like that's like saying use a computer to write an essay, and somebody starts like getting out like a pen and wants to start writing on the screen. Like, what do you mean? I like I did not know, where do you put code?
Yeah. I
never thought about that before.
No.
So like that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, so here's cool code. What do I do with it? Oh, you have to download this, and you got to set this up, and you got to run this, and you got to do this. So now I'm taking all this code and I'm putting it in there and I'm building this thing, and then I test it and it works. Cool. Let's add more. Let's do more. And then I test it and it doesn't work. I have no idea how to fix it. I have no idea what's wrong and not wrong. And like I mentioned, the AI is like a 3-year-old with a short attention span. So if I start saying, hey, here's the error I got, it's now giving me more code and creating more files and more to do. And because I don't know any better, I'm just putting that in, I'm slapping it in.
Yeah.
And it's still not working, and I don't know what's going on. And because I'm in the tenacity zone, I'm going through a surge, I'm going to get this done no matter what, I'm focused, I'm going at it. 8 hours go by and I'm still beating my head against the wall. At this point, like literally crying, frustrated, pacing, like struggling, like this is hard. And then walk away for a couple hours, and then, like you said, asking questions, right? How using the tool. So you walk away for an hour or two, and I come back and I realize I've been asking the wrong questions the entire time.
Mm.
I ask a better question. I take more time in the prompt and be very specific about what it is. I start asking it to think outside the box instead of just trying to repeat its same process over and over again, which is failing. And then this happened like 5 or 6 times where I'd be struggling for 5 to 8 hours on a problem that I can't get past. And I can't even test the thing because it's just not working. And I don't know what to do. And then I'll walk away for an hour or two, and I come back, and within half an hour it's solved because I'm able to step back and ask better questions again. Man, it's crazy. And how is that a metaphor for the 10X action plan too? Because that's exactly what business owners do in their business. Sometimes you have to be forced to step back.
It is, and slow down. And I was going through a debrief on Working Genius today, and we talked about that, and that's a whole nother topic that we can talk about sometime, because corporations are just moving past the pause and think and ponder. phases of productivity. But so you went through this, and if I'm a small business owner, I'm thinking for a second, like, maybe I could go in and do what he did. Maybe I can just do this. And then I hear all of the frustration, the amount of time that you put in this, and understanding that it's not something I would want to do. It's not something, but it is a product.
I don't want to do it again.
No, I bet not. But as we saw with your demonstration, it was slick. Like,
Yeah,
you
it came
got
out pretty
here
well.
and you did it, and now there's an opportunity for, it's a simple process to get through to create an action plan, which there's a lot of business owners out there that are going to have difficulties with trying to do that. So as I think through and just look at what you did, I continue to be just kind of in awe of this. So if we pull working genius into this, I think this is just kind of cool because we're AI, we're working genius, we're talking about it. You mentioned the T. You also mentioned the surge, which, we've been talking about Mr. Musk and his biography. Maybe let's switch gears a little bit. Talk more about the surge, because I think that's really fitting to this product and what you did. What's a surge in his eye? How's that fit in the working genius? What were your feelings on it?
Yeah. So, we've been talking about this idea of hardcore psychological safety, which we're going to come back to. To me, it feels like a book in the works. There's a lot to unpack with it. But so everybody watching kind of has an idea. So, I'm a huge believer in psychological safety, and without it, you're not going to be as effective as a team. And if you're talking about the core leadership team of an organization, then you're talking about you're not going to be as effective as an organization without having psychological safety. So to define psychological safety, to butcher, but to try and define it, it's the ability to be in a workplace and know that you can put your foot in your mouth and it not come back to bite you, or to make a mistake, and to be honest about things and to challenge things. And so it's the ability to be you and to put your best work forth, right? It's not about just creating a safe place. It's not about creating a place that everything is just perfect all the time and nobody's uncomfortable, or that it's easy, right? It's actually very difficult. But it's psychological safety, and there's a lot to say about it. There's people who could devote their entire careers to exploring the subject. And Elon Musk, when he encountered it, at least at Twitter, according to Walter Isaacson, the author of the biography, abhorred the idea, hated, like to the core of his being, the idea of psychological safety. And I started wondering, do his principles really contradict or conflict? Are they mutually exclusive to psychological safety? And if not, then how do we actually merge them to be even stronger?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the setup of psychological safety and hardcore psychological safety. And I'm borrowing hardcore from him. Like he prefers a hardcore work environment as opposed to a psychological safe one. And so I'm merging the two. And going back to your idea of surges, and so one of the core ideas, well, two things: 6 working geniuses and surges. So one of the core concepts that I pulled from him that I am now applying to psychological safety is the idea of a surge. And so a surge for him, in his experience, was when the organization, when his company, Tesla, SpaceX, whichever company it was, and has happened multiple times over and over, when they're on the verge of either going bankrupt or not hitting their targets, or not producing what they should be producing, then he will implement a surge. And basically what that means is everybody, all hands on deck all the time until we're done. And his surges, it seems like, are a bit more arbitrary. They don't seem necessarily strategic. They seem more of like panic now surge.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of hardship that it caused a lot of the people who worked for him during those times, because you were expected to be there all the time, and if you weren't, then you could get fired. And if even if you were there for like 18 hours, if you walk over to an area and there's nobody manning it, somebody's getting fired. And so the idea of a surge with unstrategically, if it's just because I feel like we're behind and now we're going to surge and I'm going to make everybody do that, I don't think that's good. I think there's a place for it, and some people can pull it off like him. But the idea of a strategic surge is, so now I'm getting to finally answer your question. The idea of a strategic surge is there is a deadline coming up, either self-imposed or not. There is a deadline coming up, and I need to put in effort above and beyond what I am used to and what I normally do for a significant period of time until that milestone is crossed, until the hurdles complete, the project's complete, you're past whatever it is, and you've completed it. And so going back to this, so for me, having researched this and then kind of practice what you preach, I realized I needed a surge in order to get this over the hump to where it needed to be. And by this, we're going back to this, because I know people kind of tune in, tune out sometimes. We're going back to the portal where you're able to log in and complete all of your surveys to request your 10X action plan. In order to get that done, I knew that I had to step out of my geniuses, because my geniuses are wonder and invention, and the wonder and invention's done. And my frustrations are galvanizing and tenacity. And so even galvanizing myself is difficult. And then tenacity is very difficult and draining for me. And so the surge helped me tremendously, because psychologically, I basically just said, you're not sleeping, you're not resting until this is done.
Yeah.
And now 2 or 3 weeks into that, so I got it live yesterday. So we're not even like 24 hours removed from actually getting this thing to where it is now. So this has been 3 weeks. And now I'm on the verge of like complete burnout, complete breakdown. It's been a very tough 3 weeks. But now the surge is over, right? So now I'm going to get away for the weekend. I'm going to rest. I'm going to recuperate. I'm going to start thinking. I'm going to start wondering and inventing again, and picking up my energy. But without to your question, kind of what you teed up, without knowing my frustrations are galvanizing and tenacity, I would have never even identified that a surge was needed. I probably would have not gotten over the hump. Right. No. I'd still be stuck.
Yeah.
And without the surge, I would have still been stuck. So the two of them working together got it done.
And it's a good reminder of the difference between being depleted and being exhausted. Like, you can work hard in your wonder and invention. You could do that and you could be exhausted, but you wouldn't be depleted. Right. This has depleted you. This has put you in a total state of exhaustion. And you can see why it would push people. A surge could push employees to being fired or to quitting at that point, where if somebody's really working with the right geniuses and can do that, they'd probably buy into the mission and vision, being like, yeah, we got to do this. This is tenacity work. We're going to complete this we're going to get to that finish line. We're going to complete this project. We want to do this. And although they might be exhausted, they're probably not showing up totally depleted. Now, Elon's pretty extreme, so maybe they are also depleted and exhausted in that. But it is important for us to know.
But his purpose is so large.
Yeah, that's true. Inspiring. It's a much bigger vision that can get people to buy into, maybe to do that longer.
Yeah.
But as a solo business,
and even like proportionally, if you are in a leader or a business owner, and your team or your organization, from the top all the way through to the bottom, if they're not able to like recite exactly what your purpose is, they're less tolerant toward, they're going to be less tolerant towards things. And like, and I'm being very generic, but the idea is this: is Elon Musk's mission is so large that people are come back after dealing with hardships that they would leave, they wouldn't even consider working somewhere else, you know. And so it's not like the larger your purpose, the more you can get away with. But that we do see that happen as far as that, and it's an observation, not necessarily like a rule. It's not like have a large purpose, therefore you can be abusive, right?
Well, they also are understanding what they're signing up for more probably these days too. Like there is, I'm sure there's some major benefits. He pulls in a fair amount of money, so there might be some residual, but I don't hear him talk about the money portion of it, honestly. Right? Like I don't know that he has done any of this really for that money, because we all know that money isn't a big enough driver, and so he's finding people that are like him, that his purpose is driving them. And yes, the financial security is nice, but
and even for him, like you know, I don't know if it's like he was the wealthiest man in the world for a little bit because of the valuation after Tesla. Like he basically saved the company and made a deal that basically said, if I save the company, I want X amount of, you know, money. And he did. He pulled it off. So he got like the full thing and became the wealthiest person in the world overnight. But and then he ended up paying taxes on those because people were saying he wasn't going to. But I don't think he's ever actually. I doubt that he's. And I know he has to some degree because you have to live, and he probably lives very well. But he's put all of his personal earnings back into his businesses.
I didn't know that.
He doesn't. Part. Yeah, he doesn't actually take very much money. He couch hops. I think in the last few years he bought a house. But for about 10 years before that, he was couch hopping from friends' houses. Couch hopping from friends' houses, you know, eating out of cans. Yeah.
That is wild. So you went through, you understood the surge, you understand the working genius portions of it. You had, so what's your mission and vision that helped push you through this? Like you were able to, so right in sync with this, you have your mission and vision in which you've wanted to complete, that allowed you to get through the surge, to work in geniuses that deplete you with that. What's best case here on what's driving you? Like, what do you want to do and be able to execute with this alpha product?
Yeah, it's and just for clarity too. So I guess it is an alpha product, and that's one of the first ones. It's also like it's in its alpha stage, you know, and by that it's a very first iteration. And in the next, I will actually launch probably this fall, and that is going to be much more marketable, much more sewed up, so to speak, tightened up. But largely, so the alpha test is allowing me to collect feedback and to test the systems and to see. But yeah, the purpose behind it is to democratize business excellence. It's because, you know, I probably every show now, I feel like I've said this stat, but you know, and I think the one I wasn't even here, I think you filled it in for me. The 58% of people employed in the United States work for small businesses. So small businesses employ the lion's share of employment, you know, in the United States, and only 39% of the value added to the GDP comes from small businesses. And the motivation is, I see the future, and even now we're starting to see it a bit, but I see the future as effectively being governed by government, mega corporations, and then small businesses. And I think that creates, in a similar way how in the United States we have three branches of the government in order to create checks and balances. And they always say that you always have a third person. You know, you never like do things in pairs, or you never make decisions in pairs, right? Because if the two of you don't agree, then there's no tiebreaker, there's no balance. So you always have threes. And for me, the three in the global force is government, mega corporations, and small businesses. If small businesses get swallowed up by mega corporations, then that to me creates an imbalance. Will create an imbalance in the world that I am willing to fight against. And so that's some of the deeper motivation behind it. But the easiest way to say it for me is to democratize business excellence. The information age already democratized business information, and AI is actually allowing us to implement and go take it from information to implementation, in a democratic way. And by democratic, I mean available to everybody, affordable enough to where it's available to everybody. And that's what this is. That's what I think this is a step for it. So this is a tool to help business owners identify areas for themselves to improve. And it's a tool for consultants to serve their clients better.
Well, we all need help. Should people call you if they need help with coding now?
No.
You're not adding that onto your resume?
Yeah, you can call me at claude.com. That's Claude.com. So that's the superpower.
So you mentioned that. You mentioned Claude. It wasn't but about 7 weeks ago we started with ChatGPT. Why are we switching tunes a little bit for those that are starting to dabble and get into AI here? Why'd you switch to Claude at this time?
Because Claude is better.
Yeah.
Claude wasn't better 6 months ago. So when Claude 3.0 came out, I forget when, late last year sometime, I think, it started to compete and maybe edge out ChatGPT in a lot of ways. But when they released 3.5 Sonnet just a few months ago, yeah, I use them. I feel like ChatGPT is about half as strong as Claude is right now.
It's wild how quickly it changes. But that's the reality of what we've been in for a couple of years now, in my opinion.
And it will probably change next week.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about showing this time, so they, so if you remember when ChatGPT first came out, I don't know how much you remember, but its training data expired like September 2021, right? So when you would interact with it prior, like a year ago, when you would interact with it, if you asked for anything that's ever happened in the world since September 2021, it just didn't have that information. It wasn't part of its training data. Part of that was for safety and security. It was so powerful when they released it. They didn't want to give it internet access, so to speak, at the same time, like live internet access. But I was able to get in. So they just put, I joined the wait list last week. I think they announced it. And now ChatGPT actually has a search. So basically it's ChatGPT's version of a Google search. And I tested it and it was strong. It was very strong. I was asking it about prompting for the text to image or text to video generation, which I'm still kind of new dabbling. I've done a lot of text to image, but not a lot of text to video. And so I was researching the best prompting techniques for that. And it found them and it gave them to me. It gave me examples and I was able to use that. And yeah, it was pretty powerful. So it's now, and it's one of those things where it depends what you're using it for. Here, I'll say this though. If anybody's watching this, that's why I'm here. I'm here so you don't have to worry or take all the confusion all out of that stuff. Drop me a line, ask me what product is good for which thing, and I would be glad to help. It's just way too much for everybody to keep up on. So one of the things I do is keep up on it so you don't have to.
Which is important, which is why we still need humans, which is why you still will have a place despite this being a tool for everybody. You're the bridge that we need to be able to do on that side. And every day I become more and more a believer. I used to always talk 6 types of working genius. Now it's dwindling down. I'm starting to talk a little bit more AI because I do know the power of it and the ideation phase is something that's so difficult for me to be able to go and have that consultative partner to be able to just go in and wonder and invent with me. Man, it takes a lot of pressure off of me.
Yeah.
I'm being able to do it. And at some point, in a lot of ways, it's going to be able to take pressure on your end of the spectrum where it's going to start completing things for us, don't you think?
It'll get there. Yeah. I mean, that's, OpenAI is expecting that within the next 2 to 5 years, you will be able to run a business and all of it. That I can, instead of prompt and now get 100 lines of code, I will be able to prompt and have it be a business. Like handle all the ins and outs, the interactions between softwares and interacting, customer service, billing, developing product, selling the product, delivering the product. Yeah. So, which is scary. That to me is a little scary. But that's largely because I haven't figured out how to exploit it yet.
Which is it's fair. It's where we have to keep digging in. You've talked about in the beginning. I am adopting it at this time. We have to get our hands dirty on this stuff because if we don't, the wrong or right people, however you feel, somebody's going to. So we might as well go along for the ride. Like at this point, there's no resisting it. We need to be equipped with it. And for businesses, I use it all the time. Use it for my everyday life, just like 6 types of working genius.
Right. And that's the best use case for it. So a freebie for any business owners or anybody watching this, I'll tell you, people are having a very hard time actualizing value from AI in business. And largely because it's an emerging technology and it's not as powerful as we think it is. And exactly what you just said is 99% of the time the best use case. What parts of people's workflow can be automated? And not only can certain tasks be automated, but your frustrations can be. So increase the humanization of work by using AI more. It actually works that way.
Just sounds ironic.
It is, but it's true.
Like that, but I feel it. I'm using it. I'm getting better at it, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So, hey, I think that about puts us at time.
Yeah, we are at time. Yeah.
Wade the battle through it today. Sorry about my technical difficulties. The cable guy was outside working on it as we speak. Bad timing. Not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
But we made it through. Yeah. So if you are interested, make sure that you are checking out, reaching out to Jay, because we need more test subjects, right?
Yeah. So just 10xsolutions.ai. You can put it in the chat. I don't have anybody watching on Twitch or YouTube, so I'll throw it in LinkedIn. But yeah, 10xsolutions.ai will take you straight there.
Great. Be a test subject, be on it early, and so you can get an affordable solution to your business and start making.
It's only $5. $5, and the prototype demonstrated a value of over $100,000. So if that's not ROI, I don't know what is. And that's real. That's real. That's not made up make believe. That's what democratized business excellence looks like.
I'm a believer. I look forward to seeing some of those test subjects. That's like this much of a coffee in Fresno, isn't it? $5 worth. Isn't that all about?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about $20. So
yeah, I can go to the gas station and get some change. Get a little bit of change with $5, but yeah, about Starbucks.
Oh man. Well, thanks again, everybody. We're glad that you're on this wild ride with us. We're excited to have you along and looking forward to seeing you back next week, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, yeah. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're in between one of those, you'll have to do the math on your own. So thanks again, Jay. Great catching up. Yeah, we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Kyle.
figures grow.